Tuesday, Ellettsville Township reorganization meeting. If we could have, well, who would like to do the prayer? All right, I will do the prayer. Dear Lord, bless our vision, bless that we make the right decisions, and give us the wisdom and the humility we need in doing so. In your name, through Christ our Lord. Amen. Pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Andrew, if you want to do roll call.
Roll call. I am present. Andrew Henry, Scott Reynolds. And then we have Kevin Ferris, absent. Dr. Sanders is absent. William Ellis, present. Dawn Durnall, present. And Mike Cornman, present. Oh, sorry, my mic was on that whole time.
So basically, I'll recap. Basically, everybody here is present. Andrew Henry, Scott Reynolds, William Ellis, which is me, Dawn Durnall, and Mike Corman, Kevin Ferris, and Dr. Jerry Sanders are not here today. So the next thing on the agenda is public comment. And this, I guess, would be general public comment on the general reorganization. Is that correct from the rest of the committee's understanding? Yes. Okay. So do we have any public comment on what they would like to see? Please come up to the podium, state your name, and sign in. Noelle, is there a sign-in sheet already there? Yes. Awesome.
Of course, it's me again. I didn't even know about tonight's meeting until my husband said, hey, are you going to the meeting tonight? That's a problem. I actually went through my spam to see if I had gotten an email since I'm on a subcommittee. I did not have an email. I did have your email that you sent on the 9th that said I'd been accepted to the committee. But like I said in the last time I spoke, it went to my spam because it came from an unknown message or unknown person, and it had multiple people on there. So I don't check my spam regularly. I don't know if people that do. So just again, I mean, you wonder why people worry about information and notification, but that's a perfect example of I didn't even know until maybe 45 minutes ago is when I found out about tonight. So.
And it's mainly the subcommittees. I mean, it's great to be here, but it's not required. I don't know if you have an agenda or if the public does, but it's basically to get those committee objectives that I said in the email that we'd be getting to you guys and deciding on that and get approved, and the postcard that we're mailing out with all the further committees, so that way you guys can serve.
The objectives or our tasks would be important to hear. So.
Oh, absolutely. I will be emailing those out to you also, as I said in the email.
Okay, I'll add you to my, so I get stuff.
Please do. Can you add an entire domain? Because if you can do...
maybe.
Okay.
I'll try it.
Because I don't know a way around that, because even if we use things like Constant Contact or MailChimp, it's going to have the same issue, even worse, because every time they have a separate email address and it flags it as spam.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't even know, like I say, I wouldn't even know I made it to the subcommittee, but Dawn messaged me separately, and it came to me because she and I had chatted before.
Awesome.
So
thank
just
you.
so you know.
All right. Anyone else? Oh, okay. Mr. Perry, how you doing? You're muted, or are we muted on our end? Hold on a second, Mr. Perry. Okay. Let's see. It's showing we have that you're not muted. We're working on fixing that here. We had some issues last night. We're hoping.
Can you hear us, Mr. Perry?
And Zoom is highlighting where I can see that it's getting sound when he talks.
now?
Yes. Excellent.
Okay. This is something I raised, not last meeting, which I missed because I was ill, but the meeting before, and that is if we could get a financial analysis of revenue implications of Senate Bill 1. Our town manager, Mike Farmer, indicated that that could be created easily, and that would be available, but I would like to see that so that we know what the financial implications are of Senate SB 1.
Mike, or do you still think that would not be a problem?
No, we could give him the report, page you give us from Baker Tilly indicating what our revenues will be like for the next 3 years, which results in 2028 of being $500,000 in the red, just to kind of give you an overview. And that is if we give no raises or grow our budget, not at all, for the next 2 years. So it's a bleak story, but I can send it to you.
Please.
And that's for the town. Was that analysis, did it also consider the impact on the township? Or was it?
That was just for the town.
Okay.
It didn't not relate to reorganization.
Because I think the township, any of their projections probably would have been lumped in with the county's projections, not separated by township. So I think that's where we may run into some.
And Ms. Perry, I assume you want an overview and you don't want a stack of papers to read through, right?
I can read through a stack of papers. I got some financial advisors who could look at it carefully. But my reading of the what's been written about SB 1 is that there's a lot of uncertainty about precisely what will happen, and that influences what decisions this committee has to make.
Yeah, there was no uncertainty when we got our report, so I'll send you everything I can. I'll have to get some help sending that much information to you. It'll be a load.
Yes, I could take it for PDF, would be easy. If you could email it electronically, that would be the easiest. But in reading the AIM report, Advancing Indiana Municipalities, which is the old Cities and Counties Association, they raised a number of questions about what precisely will happen based on decisions that need to be made by other entities over time. So I'm wondering how firmly we have projected the implications of the financial changes.
I believe it's down to the dollar. We'll send you the information.
I'm wondering, assuming that other people might want to see the same thing, would it be easier just to post it on our website, just to make things more efficient?
Okay, yeah, and I'm not real techie, so I don't know how to do that much information, but I'll get somebody that can do it.
And we can link it, and we'll discuss that on another agenda item for the reorganization website. Okay. Any other public comment, online or in person? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. Discussion of subcommittee objectives. Darla, did you want this since you kind of drafted this up?
Well, what I tried to do is I went through the Indiana Code and looked at deadlines and looked at what the statute, the Government Modernization Act requires with regard to your plan and things of that nature. And then I also cross-referenced it with the Sheridan's Adam Township plan and came up with, believe it or not, this is a short list of the Reorganization Committee's duties. And then at the very end, I put down thoughts or suggestions for the subcommittees to consider. So I have ideas for planning and zoning, finance, governance, public safety, parks and rec, roads and streets, water, stormwater, and sewer. So obviously, this is a living document, it's a work in progress, it may change, but I just thought I would try to come up with some discussion points under the subcommittee objectives, and certainly the board can add to those. There obviously will be some overlap when the committees start to meet and start to discuss things. There may be topics that may be really suitable for two committees to discuss, or two committees may have thoughts on, for example, cemetery maintenance, that could be a street department issue, it could be a Parks and Rec issue. So, in any event, that's what you have before you, and I had anticipated that if the board approves this by consensus, this is something that could be passed around to the subcommittee members so that they could have this to look at.
Would the 2017 annexation proposal from the city of Bloomington, which covered a lot of area southeast of Richland Township, is that still on the books of being what they may be trying to annex?
I am glad you brought that up, because that is something this board will have to consider at some point when you draw your maps. Because there's an Indiana Supreme Court case, Town of Zionsville versus Town of Whitestown, which in shorthand says there is a concept of the first-in-time rule with regard to two tribunals possessing concurrent complete jurisdiction of a subject matter. So shorthand, because the city of Bloomington initiated their annexation some time ago, they are first in right. And so what the committee will have to do when you draw your maps is take that into consideration. Complicating matters for you is this city of Bloomington, and I'm sure I will be corrected if I'm wrong about this, has two cases that are pending before the Indiana Supreme Court. So there is one which involves what I call areas 1A and 1B, which are not the donuts, but the, what's the word I want?
2 mile fringe.
Thank you. And so briefing was completed on that either right before or right after Christmas, and that, as far as I know, is still before the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has not decided to take transfer on that. My experience is the Supreme Court, with the Supreme Court, is that a decision could be rendered March, April, which is about when you're going to be finalizing things. The City of Bloomington has another annexation case before the Supreme Court, which is the one involving the validity of the annexation waivers in exchange for extension of services. Supreme Court heard oral argument on that back in October, end of October, so I would expect the Supreme Court to rule. So you may have to pivot a little, and you may even have to do a couple of different maps. But yes, you will need to, when you draw the boundaries, you will have to take into consideration City of Bloomington boundaries, and you also will be required to draw maps for your election districts. So that's where the City of Bloomington annexations come into play as well. So.
Okay, so for the members of the committee, I have an opinion that we should still just move ahead as if it's going to be all, notwithstanding the current City of Bloomington limits in southeast Richland Township, that we do consider taking it all until we find out otherwise.
I would agree.
I don't want to cause us more problems down the road, but I don't think we should be drawing maps up today, so to speak. We have to have due diligence and having it ready in case it does happen, So the annexation does go through, they get permission to do so. Thank you.
We can adjust when those rulings.
All right.
Now, the one in October, has the Supreme Court already agreed to transfer, and there'll be a ruling, or is that?
Good question. I'm not sure if the Supreme Court actually granted transfer on that or not.
Okay. And will one of, or the other of those decisions make one moot? Do you know?
Well, because there may be some overlap there, but they're really two different issues.
Okay, all right. I mean, what's the committee's, I really think we should just assume the entire Richland Township, and then we can adjust if the court rules. I mean, right now, Bloomington's lost at the appellate, they've lost at the trial. So, I mean, I don't want to assume anything, but I'm thinking, why would we leave those people of Richland Township out in the wind?
A map that shows Richland Township and then had a shaded area for the potentially contested area would also
like
be a
that.
really helpful reference. But I want to make sure we proceed to inform everybody in the potential entire Richland Township affected
Yes.
area.
Correct.
At some point, I have a map of it, if anybody wants to look at it
Okay.
during or after the meeting.
Dawn, being on the township board, what's your thoughts on this, from what you've heard from
I
residents?
agree, I don't think that they should be left out, I think that we should just move forward, assuming that they will be allowed to go with us and not be into Bloomington and change course if we need to.
All right, so are there council discussions on these discussion of subcommittee objectives?
Under the finance subcommittee, I think needs to be in there concerning public assistance. If we're not gonna have a separate subcommittee for public assistance.
Absolutely. Darla, that wasn't in one of the others by accident that we missed over, was it?
I don't think so,
Okay,
and it was not my intent to leave that out.
all right. So I guess in that question, so public assistance,
In our last meeting, we had a finance and public assistance as a created committee.
right,
Yep.
yep. So if anyone makes a motion to approve these, they should amend it to include that, correct, Darla?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to offer something under public safety. I think the building department needs to be added. The building department traditionally falls under our current planning and zoning. However, it is a part of public safety. It's the biggest part of public safety for the insurances for the people of the community. So I really think how will fire, police, and building department budgets will change, should come under the public safety issue, so.
Now, building department, are you meaning like planning?
Building inspections, yes.
Oh, okay, building inspections, okay. Right, because we would be taking those over from the county.
And also under the Indiana law, building inspections is a part of public safety.
Okay, and I guess the question would, even though that has a public safety component, it also has a planning and zoning component. Or are we talking about two different things here?
I think the actual work is separate.
Okay. And if they're governed by a UDO, that would kind of imply who would,
So
that's
it's-
covered
it's
there.
still the
Okay.
state building permit, so state building code. So.
One thing that I mentioned that I would like to entertain is, and at least have discussion and definitely hear from the public on this, is the Water, Stormwater, and Sewer Subcommittee. Since we contract that out to Bynum Faneuil, I'm wondering if they would be the better one to give us the information we need from Water, Stormwater, and Sewer. What's the committee's thoughts on
I
that?
think if we're going to do that, we just allow the fire chief, the police chief, the department heads to do all the work then. So I don't think that was the intent. I think it was the intent is to have public involvement. And I really think we need to have public involvement, especially this is involved with ratepayers. You know, they're paying taxes and they're paying the utility rates. So I think they're going to be a big part of it because all the department heads are going to be a part of it. They're
Right.
all one way or the other ex officios, because that's where the information is coming from, is their departments. And so I think they're going to be included in it regardless, but I still think we need to have a subcommittee on that, so.
So there'll be 4 water companies that'll be serving in a reorganized town. So, there'll be different attitudes and thought patterns on what to do when it comes to maybe economic development and preparing different utilities to maybe to react to what the reorganized town wants to do in the future. And so it does seem like there'd be need for some coordination.
Okay.
I mean, informally, we do that. Currently, City of Bloomington has meetings where all the water companies come together. So that's going on currently anyway, so.
And Mike brings up a good point. We do need a way to get public input to that, especially if there's gonna be cost increase and such. And we'd have to decide how that there'd have to be public hearings on cost increases, correct? If, even with this?
Well, you're not raising the rates as part of this plan, but yes, if there is a consolidation in the future, yes, when you do your rates and charges,
Okay.
there, depending on whether you're doing a 30-day filing, whatever, there is a certain,
Okay,
But each entity does their own
that's correct.
charges, and so coordination would help with when you consider economic development or maybe residential housing, even the ability to hook on affects how people that might come here, thinks about whether it's a good idea or not. So I just, like I said, currently we all talk now, and we basically have a committee that does that now, so it doesn't seem unwise to not coordinate that. Obviously, all this, there actually is 3 sewer companies that will be active inside the Richland Township area, which would be a reorganized town. So, and I think we have interest in people participating, so.
Okay. I hadn't seen anybody come through yet to apply for that subcommittee.
I had somebody from Eastern Richland and from Bean Blossom Patricksburg that would. Yeah, and then Terry Davis, who lives inside the Richland Township and is on the board. He said he'd serve, and so he would be glad to represent them. And
So if we have, the main concern was I didn't think we had more than 1 or 2 people, but it sounds like we have a good group of people to pull from. So I'll retract my suggestion because I thought it was just the one that you had mentioned. So, all right.
I just was able to finish reading through this. And under Parks, Recs, Cemeteries, we have costs for cemetery maintenance / burial assistance. And I don't know if it's gonna make a difference. I mean, just currently how the township runs, we do cemetery maintenance, but that is completely separate from burial assistance because burial assistance falls under public assistance. It doesn't have anything to do with maintaining the cemetery. It has to do with assisting the public who does not have funds to bury a loved one. So I don't know,
It would actually probably go under the
So-
public assistance aspect.
that's what.
Right, because one is going to the, if I'm not mistaken, physical property, the others,
Right.
I can't afford to.
Right.
Okay. So again, remember these. If anybody, any other council comments?
so just so I'm clear, Dawn is suggesting that burial assistance be moved to finance, but leave costs for cemetery maintenance under Parks and Rec.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other council comments? Scott?
I think this is a great start. Obviously, there'll be additional questions and considerations that probably come out of the discussions at the subcommittee and the committee level. But I just wanted to commend Darla for the great outline. This is really helpful.
All right, is there any public comment on what they would like to see? And this is rough draft, so we didn't have it where people could really look over it, but is there anything from the subcommittees that you would like to see that maybe we haven't touched on in this or previous meetings?
Let me say that I'm thankful for somebody putting something on the table about cemeteries.
Thank you, Dawn. All right, seeing no more public comment. When the topic is subcommittees, we still have vacancies we need to appoint, and I have a couple, one that just came in today. But there was one that I sent to the council members here last Wednesday. I forgot to nominate somebody for the Planning and Zoning Subcommittee, and I just talked to him right before I dropped the ball. but Jason Bell would very much like to be on the subcommittee for planning and zoning. So,
And there was one that I.
Monique Miller.
Yes, Monique Miller.
And that would be on, she had wanted to be on governance, I believe.
Yes,
Correct.
I agree.
And then this one here, we can discuss, but I would like to take those separate. I'd like to nominate Jason Bell for the Planning and Zoning Subcommittee. And if Jason's here, since your name's already out there, we kind of talked about if you want to come up to the podium and just give kind of a elevator speech on why you want to serve.
Because you told me.
Okay. Yes. That's.
Good evening, I am Jason Bell, and yes, he did tell me I should get on this committee. I have been the executive director for the Builders Association for 10 years, president 3 years before that. Have worked with the state on several bills, working on one now, so I think it's just kind of a good fit on some of the experience that I've had over the past 13 years. So, anybody have any questions?
You currently live in the town or the township?
Township. Yep. I go to the same barber as you, so.
Mr. Wall? Yes.
How'd you know that? Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion to nominate Jason Bell to the Planning and Zoning Reorganization Committee.
I'll second.
On seconds, the motion is to appoint Jason Bell to the Planning and Zoning Committee. I vote yes. Scott?
Yes.
Yes. William?
Yes.
Dawn?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And the reason I'm mentioning names is we only have like one or two people to talk about it.
Right.
So, we've had a chance, has everybody had a chance to review Monique Miller's application that she had sent in on the subcommittee?
I sent that out last week.
Right, kind of like right after the
Yeah.
meeting, so, not your fault.
No.
We just, all right. So is there any action on that?
I would like to nominate Monique Miller to the governance subcommittee.
I'll second.
Dawn moved. Mike seconded. And I vote yes. Scott?
Yes.
Yes. William?
Yes.
Dawn?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. And then finally, if I'm going by my notes in my memory, which are dangerous things, but I think the only other subcommittee we have to actually assign tonight would then be the wastewater, stormwater, and that is on number 7. I request, since we're discussing subcommittees now, we move that up and address that now. Does anybody have any objections to that?
Sounds
Okay.
good.
All right. Mike, do you want to nominate the people you'd mentioned and Dawn?
I don't think I can. I'm not on the board.
Well, I know that. but
Well,
you can't
I'll
tell us.
give you a couple names if
Right,
we're interested.
yes.
Okay, Terry Davis lives on Red Hill Road. He's in the township.
Okay.
And he represents Bean Blossom Patrickburg, just so his background. And Kurt Hayes, was it Kurt that wants to,
Yes, Kurt said
yeah. And he's with Eastern Richland Sewer Corporation. For anybody who doesn't know what that is, it's a rural sewer company that empties into Ellettsville's wastewater system. And they've been around since 1970. And then
And he lives in the township? He does.
he does, yeah, I didn't know if, it kind of goes in. and
He
out.
does.
Okay.
He
so-
does.
And then Connor Collier, Collier. He works for Bynum Faneuil Utilities. He lives in town, and he would be good for cross-referencing anything they talk about.
Rick Kopic, that was one you mentioned before. Does he not live in the township?
Yeah, I'm not sure that he would want to be on a committee,
Okay,
but I would tell everyone that he would be a good source of information, and I can liaison him getting with you. He probably knows more about land use, utilities, and development than anybody I know in Monroe County. So he would be a good reference for anybody to call, pick up the phone and call, so. And he does consult for the town of Ellettsville as an engineer.
do these three people then, do they cover everybody that services this new area that would be serviced?
Eastern, Bean Blossom, there's nobody, I don't know of it, I'd have to think of somebody from the city of Bloomington. I know there's quite a few people in the utilities that, well, a few people that live in this area, so, but I have had no contact with them. And then Van Buren Water, I would recommend that maybe we maybe reach out to Jay Humphrey. He's on the Van Buren Water Board, and he lives on Vernal Pike. And the only reason I mention him is because it's the only person I can think of on their board that's in our township. So
Okay,
we might reach out to him, and that's Jay Senior.
okay.
Okay.
Does the council want to do any action on the current suggestion of names tonight? Because,
There's a reason not to.
yeah, I don't see a reason not to.
I think we should, so we can just keep moving forward.
I agree. I did not get all three of those names written down yet.
Terry Davis, Kurt Hayes,
C-U-R-T?
Yeah,
C or K?
K-A-Y-E-S.
it's a C.
C, okay.
Thank you. And the last one was?
Connor Collier, C-O-L-L-I-E-R. Connor, C-O-N-N-O-R.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
None as of yet?
I'll make a motion that we put Terry Davis, Kurt Hayes, Connor Collier on the Water, Wastewater, Stormwater Subcommittee.
I'll second.
Dawn seconds. I vote yes. Scott?
Yes.
Yes. William?
Yes.
Dawn?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All subcommittees are now,
William, I have one more.
Yes.
At the last meeting, Valerie Dewar approached me and wanted to be appointed to Parks and Rec.
oh, okay. Oh, yes, I thought we talked about her, but we
But we didn't.
didn't make a motion, okay.
But
So,
for governance, yeah.
Yes. All right, so Monique Miller, she's mentioned first. Do we have any council action on her? I thought we did.
Did we? Oh.
Yeah, okay,
Sorry.
that's right.
Sorry.
So Valerie Dewar would be the next one for Parks and Rec.
I move we appoint Valerie Dewar to the Parks and Rec Committee.
I'll second that.
Scott seconds. I vote yes. Scott?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
Dawn?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Wow, okay, so all subcommittees are now formed. Does not mean we can't add people on later. So just letting the public know, but great job to everybody that's applied, and thank you. I do ask the committee for permission to, I want to send out the approved, well, actually, we haven't voted on the approval yet, have we? Whatever's approved, permission to go ahead and contact those people, because I've already let them know so far what it is, and if they've whitelisted my email address, like Sherry said, there was a issue. If they get a different person, we're gonna go through the whole,
Thing all over again.
yeah, so I'd like to get them their scope of service, their scope, their basically. So do I have permission to do that once we approve
Please.
what they are?
Please.
Okay.
Just to clarify, were we gonna do anything with Amacom tonight, or was this just for?
Oh, And for the public, we did have somebody that had, we just received tonight that had applied, very business consulting, Radius, Indiana. I'm very familiar with that.
I'm sorry, who was that?
Her name is Ann McComb.
Thank you.
And
And you did not express a particular interest in any specific committee, unless I missed it, correct?
I'm not seeing any.
She did not.
But from her background, just to me, it seems like finance or planning and zoning
I agree.
would be the better place, one of those two.
Am I correct in remembering that planning and zoning currently has more members than
That is
finance?
correct, yes.
So that might lend toward finance.
I have a hard time with conscience appointing any volunteer to a finance committee. It seems cruel and unusual.
So in other words, you're not making the motion.
I'm not making the motion.
She's a perfect fit for planning and zoning.
What's the pleasure to?
So we currently have 6 for planning and zoning.
Right. Which
Do
if
we
there's,
anticipate there being benefit from 7?
if there's ever a tie, yes.
We have 5 on finance, so the difference is not enormous. We're not putting
Right.
7 on one,
Finance
2
would
on the
create an
next.
imbalance, an even number. Where planning and zoning would put it as an odd number, which is traditionally what boards and commissions are.
After recommendation of the town manager, I think the planning and zoning committee, where she needs to see if she can help out there.
I agree.
Is that a formal motion?
I'll make that a motion.
Okay, all right,
I'll second.
all right.
Mike moves, Dawn seconds. I vote yes. Scott?
Yes.
Yes. William?
Yes.
Yes. Dawn?
Yes.
Yes. Mike?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
So do we have any more applicants that we have not addressed yet? Does any, that we're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. So then the next thing would be, any council, I've already called for public comment, any council discussion and action on the actual reorganization subcommittee duties.
Will the reorganization duties and objectives, will they be like section 2 on, will those be subdivided out to give to those respective committees?
Yes, yeah, I'm not gonna load them with the whole document. I'm going to,
Just give them what they,
yes, exactly what pertains to their,
But they will receive everything prior.
I can, it doesn't,
I feel like the more information that people have kind of about
I'm
what they're
good with
doing
that.
and
I hadn't
it
thought
helps
of
to
that.
have the big
Yes.
picture in mind and to know where your bit fits.
I completely understand. Chances are, knowing the subcommittee members, they're very responsive. If I would've just sent out their section, I would've gotten a request, what's the overall? So, I, no problem doing that.
May I ask a housekeeping question, please?
If anybody, yes,
For the reorganization duties and objectives that you have before you, is there a public place that you want those placed?
I would think the town website, so we can link it to the website. And that would be the whole document, not just, not,
As we move forward, just for a recommendation, if that could be the board's recommendation when they're saying that they were going to release things to the public, just so that we know where to put it going forward. If you say you want this released to public, then I'll make sure that it goes on where it needs to go, but
and Dawn, do you think you can put this on the township website?
I can ask.
Well, yeah, not you personally, but yes.
No, I can,
But-
I can ask. I
Yes.
honestly do not know
Okay.
that he will agree with that.
Okay. I guess what I'm just saying is that
Yeah.
I don't want you to think we're leaving the township
No,
out.
no.
We just need it
Yeah.
hosted somewhere so we can,
Yes.
we can
Yeah.
get out to the public. So, and I,
Host it on the township site, or just the
or
building?
just
crew?
post a link where they can, but on the website that we're gonna talk about shortly, I need to get him the information so he can put like duties of the subcommittees, duties of the, so that way somebody can just click it and go. So it has to be somewhere
Yep.
publicly accessible to
Yep.
begin with.
I was gonna recommend against also hosting it on Richland if you were trying to actually post it in both places.
No. It would just be one link for our website. But that way, if a township resident is looking at their website and says, oh, what's this reorganization thing? There's some information there too, plus
Right.
goes back to the website.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know if it'll be approved, so,
I can try.
yes, all right. So, again, do we have any action on this?
I will make a motion to accept the reorganization duties and objectives with the changes we spoke about under finance to add public assistance and remove from Parks, Recs, and Cemeteries, the burial assistance, place that in finance, and under public safety to add the building department, specifically inspections.
I'll second it.
Seconds, and the vote, I vote yes. Scott?
Yes.
Yes. William?
Yes.
Dawn?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Next is approval of contract for reorganization website. And we did have one, really right now, speed is what we truly need to get this out to the public. We had a couple places that one, just time-wise, wasn't going to work. We found another one that they can do it all-inclusive till November passed. And did you guys get a look at the contract? Has that been,
I did not see that.
okay,
I don't see that either, so.
all right. Since the town's gonna host it, I think it was sent to Mike. You saw that, right? For the website we talked about. Oh, you got it right there?
Do you want me to pass it up?
Yeah, actually, if you could.
It's pretty simple and to the point,
That's not
and
for-
I think,
That's
being-
not for the website.
oh, for the website, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I thought you was talking about this.
No.
I got that. Yep, I don't have anything for the website.
Well, it's what I had sent you. That was last week.
Sure it's in there somewhere.
Okay. Andrew, did you want to talk about the? No. Okay, I gotcha. But without going through my phone, what's his name again?
Ben Crum.
Ben Crum. I couldn't remember the first name. Want to make sure I got that. Ben Crum has offered to do the website all-inclusive for $1,500, and he would just like one point of contact to funnel the information to him. Until we met tonight, I agreed to be that contact just for expedience sake. Anybody can do that to let him know what needs to be on the website. But the biggest thing is we just need this on the website. Most of the links will be on from the town website. Videos will come from the YouTube channel that Dawn has set up with the township. So they'll have a one-stop shop for everything, including the minutes and discussions we've had on this. So the other bid was for upwards of $4,000, but they also could not get it in a timely manner. So
Not before the 26th or whatever,
Right.
whatever meeting that was.
this can be, as soon as I get the information, we can get that done. The website up, well, in a couple of days or so. So I guess, is there any discussion, concerns with the website?
So I will say one thing. Ben Crum was my recommendation. I've used him for a number of years for our company website, and he has been excellent, extremely prompt and responsive. So I'm very much in favor.
Okay. Any other council discussion on that?
Sounds good to
Any
me.
public comment on that? Okay, seeing none, do we have council action?
I'll make a motion to utilize Ben Crum for the website for the reorganization.
I'll second that. And the vote, I vote yes. Scott?
Yes.
Yes. William?
Yes.
Dawn?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, now, this would be to Mike Farmer and probably Noel. With our next town council meeting, should we all, because we're gonna have to pay for it, should we make since this town is paying for this portion of it, that the council needs to approve that too, correct?
Is it a budgeted item?
Yes, it would be paid in the claims, and the way that the claims would work is I would wait until the council gave me permission to pay that, so, I mean, that's how the claims work. I'm not understanding the question.
I guess the question is, the council's gonna have to vote to actually pay for the website, correct? Or does it fall under the threshold?
I don't think so. I mean.
It's
So
all
it's
the-
not,
the
it's
threshold.
not,
The board okayed with this process, and.
it's not a pre-written claim, so it has to go through the claims process,
Right,
but we can
and so
pay
it'll
it.
have to go through the claims, so they'll okay it by virtue of a vote during the claims process.
Correct.
If that's enough transparency.
Okay. Mike, I'm sending that to you again, and I think I
Well,
may have sent it
if
to the
you
wrong.
send something to me that is a contract or an important paper, the rule in Ellettsville is you send it to the clerk's office too, to make sure I don't.
I will do that right now. Let's see. And I'll send it to the rest of those on our committee.
But does that answer your question on how it gets paid?
Yes, I just want to make sure that, what we don't want is one council saying, well, this council's not us, they approved it, and we don't want to pay it, because it's not for us, so.
I think it's appropriate to say we're going to be using lit ED money, which is local income tax, economic development money to pay most of these claims.
Okay.
You good with that, Noel?
The council hasn't done any additional appropriations yet, but that is the intent to move forward.
And temporarily, we'll pay through our services, our.
Miscellaneous professional services,
Thank you.
currently we have a healthy appropriation in there to carry us through 2026.
So it is a budget item already, right? Not this contract necessarily, but for the contract, so it is a budget item.
No, we have funds available to use
Not been appropriated.
to pay for this invoice if it were to come in tomorrow. And then they would have to go through the claim cycle.
But as we go through the process and it becomes more elaborate, and then we have bills that exceed what we thought in a budget year we was going to use, we're gonna have to appropriate from local income tax, economic development funds, and we'll have to appropriate them. It'll go through the board to yes or no it, but I assume it'll be a yes. That was the plan all along, so there's funds in the future because some of the bills will be.
Coming.
I've sent that to you,
yeah,
Noel,
good enough.
and I sent that
I'll
to
leave
all
it
the
at that.
council members. Sorry about that, I didn't realize that it hadn't. All right.
You know, this might be a good time to say. There's a lot going on here. We've never been here before. We are under some time constraints. I think passing information back and forth and sending it to everyone is fine. But at the end of the day, I think there'll be some times when people need to feel comfortable calling into the town now, allowing me to get information directly to people that have specific questions, whether it be a subcommittee or the committee, and that everybody needs to be real comfortable about I don't want to say demanding, but demanding information so they can make good decisions. And I think one of the important things everyone needs to know is a lot of what we do as a reorganized town, in my mind, is going to be from the template of how we run this town now. I mean, we don't have time to reinvent the wheel, and so minutia will slow us down, maybe even make us fail. So to understand how things are working now and the interactions between all the departments, the makeup of them, and their objectives now might be helpful when they go about creating this new reorganized town plan. So does that make any sense? Hopefully, but anyway, we are open to the demand and the need for information from the committee. So everybody needs to feel real comfortable about saying, hey, I need you to come here. Can we meet? Can you call me on the phone? I mean, Mr. Perry wants us to send information by, digitally, and that's fine, and we can give it to him. It'll be so much, he'll probably spend all his time trying to find what he's looking for, so he's also going to get the condensed version that we got, so we could get to this point from our financial experts that took all the information and indeed told us how things were going to be in the future and why we were even considering this. So anyway, I just want to kind of throw that out there so everybody, especially on the committees, can be real comfortable cracking the whip and asking for information from us and our department heads and everybody. We know that needs to happen, and it's work we want to do, but you guys need to feel comfortable about just really saying we're on a time crunch, give me the information. Okay, that's all I'll say.
I appreciate that because obviously from the perspective of people who are living in the township, they never imagined that they would ever have to know anything about how Ellettsville works.
Right.
Right, and so it's going to be important for them to reach out and get the information so that, again, they don't reinvent the wheel. Right. From a utopian perspective, for example. So thank you.
Yes, and I will say that last night I said at the end of the town board meeting that groups of people, a committee, or just one person, anybody that wants information, I know I need to be available, so I'll go meet anybody where they want to be. This is probably what I'm going to be doing for the most part for the next 4 or 5 months, and so I really hope every time people really want to know some things and demand information, it actually makes me feel a little lighter because I know people are really trying to figure this out. It's when nobody calls me that I get real nervous. Okay.
I know we needed to get the website quickly, so I hope that was okay that obviously nothing was approved until we did this, and he knew that. He was hoping to have a mock-up today, but we didn't have anything to send him, because that I did want a group decision to, but I just don't want, I guess I didn't mean to get ahead of myself, and I hadn't realized I hadn't sent out the contract to everybody, and I apologize for that. Luckily, it's not one of those, this is what's the thing about the finance for this. Some's gonna come from the town, some may come from the township. We've got no budget. Right. So it's kind of and for the town expenditures, Mike Farmer has had approval from the council for years now. Under a certain amount, he can just pull the trigger.
Which I'm uncomfortable with, but I do it all the time.
Right, so, but, because some things have to be quick. But they still go back to the council, so we know about them, and they're still on the receipt, so it's not like they're just approved and go into the ether. Any questions on that? No. Okay. All right, now the next one, discussion of postcards and mailers to be sent to Richland Township and Town of Ellettsville residents.
I do have a couple thoughts on the mock-up, if now's the right time to share those.
Absolutely.
One of them is kind of a nit, and I'm gonna expose my potential, I might be exposing my ignorance here. You know, anytime you sort of talk about grammar, right, you just open it up to somebody who knows more about it to correct you. But on the back where, you know, what's happening now, a reorganization committee, and then you've got the, you know, the clause separated, supported by resident-led subcommittees. I believe it should be is preparing, because it's a reorganization committee is preparing.
That is correct.
Okay. So, just wanna.
Because supported by resident-led subcommittees or the supportive.
Right,
It's
exactly.
the subject is reorganization committee.
My other comment is on the other side, and it's more conceptual. So give me a second to explain where I'm coming from on this. So it says on the right-hand side, why explore reorganization? And that little paragraph ends with the proposed reorganization allows Richland Township and Ellettsville to, and it lists those things. And maybe this is just my background as a lawyer myself, you know, I think too much about language, but I kind of wonder if that sentence is presupposing what we hope to do. In other words, we're going to prepare this plan, and as we go about it, I believe our aspirations are to do these things. But ultimately, it's going to be the town council and the township board and then the voters who will then decide whether or not we've done those things. So I think, I just kind of wonder if it makes more, and I think if, you know, we heard some comment even in our first meeting from some members of the public who expressed some skepticism. And I sometimes know if I have skepticism about something, I don't want somebody to tell me that I don't have reason to be skeptical, that it's actually all taken care of for me. So I just wonder if, in order to be, sort of capture those concepts, whether it makes sense just to change the allows to may allow or could allow, one of those two things, just so again, we're making it clear that we're finding facts and we're putting together, you know, hopefully what we think would be the best possible outcome, but that we're not telling anybody that they can't decide for themselves.
I like that.
I would rather say,
Yes.
the proposed reorganization has the following goals rather than say it
Right.
may allow it.
Right, I would
Right.
say goals, that, I was gonna suggest putting goals in there.
Say it again.
The proposed reorganization of Richland Township and Ellettsville has the following goals, and then list protect essential services, et cetera.
With that, I mean, look, I want your lawyer skepticism in this, because there's, if you go on Facebook, everyone's an attorney, and they know, so
Certainly,
It's a good point, and so we got to this point, this was something to throw darts at.
Right.
And up to the vote to do this, and then having a committee, we did kind of have to presuppose what to say, and then and this is the third party, and so they, you know, so it's good to point that out, yeah.
Darla, do we need formal motions on these changes?
I think you're fine, you've got a consensus.
Okay. Did you have?
Well,
wasn't-
there was some talk about our meetings being more frequent. And if we're going to do that, we need to do that decide on that before we do this, so that we
That is
can.
correct. Just the thought, if we, may I ask Denise a question? Denise, can you come up there? I want to put you on the spot for a second. If you do, if we change this to every week at Wednesday, I know that will conflict with some BZA meetings. Would they be able to be held at either utilities or the fire station, which offers?
I have to have CATS TV. If CATS TV can go to DPW, I can do it there.
Well, they could probably do it portable and record it. Does it have to be live?
No.
We'll have to work that out with them, but that, we definitely need to, because of what we're doing, we probably need to figure out how to get BZA and put them probably up in DPW building.
Would you
I will
be,
say, because of some holidays that I did have to move my BZA meetings around because I had to move plan commission. So there's like 2 or 3 months, maybe March, April, May. Well, you'll probably be finished June or so. So there's a couple months you'll coincide.
Okay, so you're okay with us if we went to, this is just talking, I'm not asking to make an official motion. I just want to make sure we have logistics here. Would you be okay then if would it cause too much problems for you if we went weekly?
No, I just have to have enough time to amend my
We'd decide
public
tonight, I
meeting
think,
notice.
so you'll have plenty of time.
Yeah, okay. So you're going to decide your dates tonight?
Yes,
Okay,
I would think.
all right.
And understand 4 of us make a quorum, so if we can't make every meeting,
Well, that was one concern, was that the more frequent the meetings, the more we might have to be accepting of the fact that,
Right.
you know, it will be difficult for everybody to attend every week. I also wonder whether, you know, whether we would even need to, you know, specify here every other Wednesday or every Wednesday. In other words, we could provide a way or a means for people to find the current schedule on the postcard as opposed to, you know, holding ourselves to one rhythm for the rest of the time. Logistically speaking, though, I wonder, you know, there had been some discussion about one of us each being on the subcommittees. And so if we were to go with that, then we would be committing ourselves to both weekly meetings and potentially the subcommittee meetings. And it's not that it's not doable.
Right.
But we have to not burn ourselves out too.
Correct. And we have 2 people not here tonight, who, you know, we're not wanting to say, we can assign Jerry and Kevin to every subcommittee. That's, tell you, my thoughts, I like having the rough schedule on the postcard.
I do too, and then we can, you know, we could also just have a little blurb on here about, you know, more meetings may be added. Please see our website for that, because as we know from public comment that Facebook is not the best
Right.
way, but since there's no newspaper anymore, that's kind of hard to.
As a clear commitment to this as a minimum regular schedule, I like it as long as there is a way for people to see a clear and timely update.
So you want to say a minimum of every 2 weeks or minimum of every week?
I do not want a minimum of every week.
Right, I was going to say, because that would be,
No, every other Wednesday, what we have here, if we say we will meet certainly not less frequently than this. As a board, I feel that this meeting schedule as printed, anything less than that would definitely be insufficient to do our work. But if we just say meetings are held every other Wednesday at 6 p.m. through May, additional meetings may be announced as needed.
Yeah, please check, you know, we have the website for.
Yeah.
and I've committed to this, I don't know if I've said at this committee, I can be here at certain times that the public wants to come in just to voice opinions and give questions. So we have different times. Some people have said, well, I can't get off work or I work nights. I don't want to, you know, rule them out. I'm willing to meet anywhere if you want to have coffee or someplace and we can discuss this, just like Mike has said. And I'm sure a lot of our committee members here, from what we know. But right now, we don't have a lot of the questions asked, we don't have firm answers for. We're still working on that, but we want the concerns addressed so we can address them.
And we won't have effective answers for months.
Right.
You know, for this committee, so it's kind
Exactly.
of hard to make a statement on something. You have an
Correct.
opinion, but it's going to be
Correct.
maybe going off kilter or what we're just trying to receive information so we can process it and then let the voters decide. So.
Right.
Well, let's talk about how much time we have. I think that's important. How much time do you think we have to finish this? I think you have limited amount of time. And so I would propose that you talk about it in length about how much time you think you have, and that really to work with our accountants and putting together the public meetings. April 1st is, so it's only a couple months as opposed to several months. So I just want to point it out. I get paid to be blunt about it, and so I'm telling you, you don't have a lot of time. So every chance you get to meet, you should. Every chance we get to go out and talk to groups, we should, either as a committee, well, as a committee person or an individual. There'll be times when you may have to answer, and this is just my opinion, so you take it for what it's worth, but I think there's times when I think it's appropriate that you express your personal views as a committee person on how you think that this is going to work. The 30,000-foot view of how this is going to work probably was not going to change. There'll be details about it, about just like the boundaries and how many board members are going to be. All those things haven't been worked out, but the 30,000 view of if this should work and how it's probably going to work based on the wheel already being invented, I think that everybody should think about going out on a limb and saying, we're going to do this sooner than later, and we need to be adamant about what we all think as individuals, but yet have the thoughts of the collective when they go out and talk to people, or when you guys congregate and try to figure something out. I mean, communications is going to be very important, and it shouldn't wait. I know haste makes waste, but in this matter, we have some dictates from the state of saying when we need to be finished. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but we do have those dates, and we've had our financial people express that we should be done sooner than later. Just so you know.
Baker Tilly would like to have at least a draft of the reorganization plan by April 1st, so they can finish their financial impact statement, and then that still gives you, the reorganization board, time to look that over, maybe tinker with it, send it back to Baker Tilly, and that also gives the town board and the Richland Township the township board for Richland Township time to tinker with it. Because when you pass, if you pass the plan, you have to pass it by substantially identical resolution. So if one board wants to make changes, you still need time to go back and forth. So I guess I'm saying give yourself some wiggle room at the end to do that negotiating among yourselves and between the two boards to get that final product that you're happy voting on into May 1st to June, that time period.
Thoughts on that? I personally believe that April 1st is very reasonable, especially with us meeting as needed, and if the subcommittees, with the communication I've had with them, and I think all of you, they're very adamant about wanting to get information and get this done.
So the subcommittees should be done by what day or what time, or?
6:37 p.m. No.
Yeah, okay.
And a question on the actual draft, who writes that? That's another question. Who wrote the one from Sheridan Adams? Okay. Did you just volunteer? So, is that something you would be willing and able to do, or do we need to look at somebody else?
I'm happy to assist, and I'm sure Mr. Cook will help me, so.
Because I think I'm glad that we asked that question, because the subcommittees are going to ask, what do they need to provide
Right.
back? I mean, they're talk about things and talk to
Exactly.
other people, but, they're going to want to know how fleshed out
Yes.
is the material that they provide to us, or is it just an outline that we take?
Here's our stack of Post-it notes.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
no.
Yeah, so I think that we, when we're ready to submit, when we get all the information, or as we get it, something that's decided on by us and Dawn, are you okay working as liaison with the township board?
Yes.
We could get that, we're sure about this part and get to Darla, would that help? Instead of throwing it all at once, that way.
And maybe, and I think from a process perspective, maybe it's worth talking about how we see that interaction between us and the subcommittees going. In other words, if you've got a finance subcommittee, they come back to us with results.
Right.
And we don't agree with 100% of what's been provided. Does that open up a conversation? In other words, do we send back our thoughts to the subcommittee and they bring it back to us, or do we simply take what they give us under advisement, and then we are the ones who ultimately, as the main committee?
Ultimately, you're the ones who will make the recommendation and agree upon the language that goes into the plan.
Okay.
That goes to each of the boards.
So we could do it however we want, but ultimately, we're not bound by what the subcommittees bring to us.
No.
There's some things that you don't have a lot of wiggle room on according to the statutes, but there's some things you certainly have some room to negotiate and think about and
I think this is just important in terms of the timing, right? Because
Absolutely, right.
if we were, it's not to say that we would just say, thank you, subcommittee, and then, you know, put that over
Right,
here,
right,
but
yeah.
it's more of a question of, if we've got April 1st, which is 10 weeks away,
Right.
and we were bound by what they provided us, then that could really extend out the
Correct.
process. So knowing that we're not, I think, is key.
I would encourage all of the subcommittee individuals who have graciously volunteered or been volunteered to serve to go to, just Google Sheridan Adams Township Reconsolidation or Consolidation, and they have what I think is a very nice plan, and I think that will give people some ideas of what this final plan is supposed to look like. So you're not operating in the dark.
So you could add that to their email.
Yes. Well, that's just, I can't add, the plan is too big.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
you could add, we recommend you go
Yes.
to this website.
Noel, is that on our website? Is it a possibility to put on our website? Do you know? Because our email won't take I can send it through my AOL, it's fine, but the town one, it will not.
Recommendation would be to put it on the reorganization website, because we want everyone going to that for information. That would be my
Well,
recommendation.
Right, but they're not hosting it. They're not having storage.
Okay, so that
So
makes
the
sense.
reorganization website's just gonna have links,
I
a
can-
one-stop shop.
We can do it. Yeah.
Okay,
I wasn't clear on that.
No problem.
I apologize.
as you know, I probably haven't been clear over the last couple of weeks. I'm no longer a grandparent with 3 grandkids, and I realized I'm no longer a parent. I'm too old for this. So-
I will say, in my truck right now, I have several hard copies too, and I'd be glad to run them to anywhere they need to go. I'm dedicated to getting everybody information, so I have a ton of hard copies actually,
Okay.
so.
But Noel or Denise, if you can,
So on
or if you need me to.
there is a tab, and so we'll just put it in under here. There's other documents that are already in there, so we'll just link the Sheridan plan in there.
Fantastic. Okay. Just text me, let me know when it is, and I'll get it to the website.
But back to the question. Did we decide on our meeting schedule?
I thought the consensus was that we're going to say a minimum of every Wednesday. Because there may be a situation where we have no new information come in, and, I mean, it would be good for the public to be able to come in and express concerns, but right now, I think from what we're hearing from the public, they're not quite sure what to express concerns over. Is that kind of what you're hearing too?
It's also
So-
easier for the public to attend every 2 weeks than it is to
Yes.
not know which of the weekly meetings is really important for them to come to.
Exactly.
So yeah, I would like to keep the text exactly as written here. Meetings are held every other Wednesday at 6 PM through May, and then add something like additional meetings may be scheduled as needed. Check Ellettsville-Richland-info.org for updates.
Okay.
Andrew, I'll put you in touch with the people that put this together so you can talk to them directly about the changes.
And then as far as my initial comment, did we have a consensus that we were going to say? Andrew, what was your suggestion,
The goal.
the goals of the proposed
Andrew,
reorganization?
Yeah, let me write this down. Andrew, are you gonna email them? Because it was your suggestion. Are you taking care of that with?
I thought Mike wrote it down. Did you write it down?
What's that?
The goals.
I'm gonna say the goals?
Yeah, instead of the proposed reorganization allows Richland Township and Ellettsville to, I think, what were
Yeah.
Yeah,
the goals of the proposed reorganization?
Yes.
Okay, say it one more time, I'm slow. Talk to me slow.
The goals of the proposed reorganization. Oh, boy, I don't.
Will allow Richland Township
Or-
and Ellettsville too. Shouldn't that be better?
Sure, go
grammar?
for it.
Okay.
Yes or no I'm running through my head both ways.
In my mind, I mean, I don't want to get hung up on this, but in my mind, I was thinking the goals of the proposed reorganization are to allow Richland Township and Ellettsville to,
Yep.
R2 then?
yeah, are to allow to, I'm sorry, oh man, apparently I need dinner. Are to allow Richland Township and Ellettsville to, yeah.
Okay.
Good with that.
Got it.
Do we have any public comment on what they would like information? But pretty much just the information on here has a 50,000-foot view, why we want to do it, when the meetings will be, and website on the back. And ways to email both the township and the town. So I guess, Matt, if any public comment on anything we've missed on this that you haven't heard discussed? Okay, seeing none. Is there council action? Well, actually, we don't need to have council action. Darla said consensus. Anybody object to what was said? Okay.
I think it's been hashed out well.
All right. The cost, 7,200 cards. Now, does this $1,000.54 include the mailing too? No. I wouldn't think so.
No, they say the unit cost is either. it's some-
.14641.
Yeah,
Yeah, I see postage not included.
it's got a spread, so. So based on 7,200, I think, I can't remember, I'd have to look it up, but.
So we just have 7,200 households?
That's correct.
Okay.
It's 7,200 registered voters, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay.
And what we did is, instead of, when we just sorted the list, instead of sending a postcard to each individual at the household, I just thought that would just be redundant. I mean,
Right.
it's the blank household,
Right.
and all right. Any other comments on this?
Who will be the person that can approve the final art proof? I'm happy to delegate that to any single member of the committee.
I thought with this changes that would be, but Scott, would you like to be that person?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you, Scott.
I have to say, I'm very impressed by this board. All of us are, there's not one person like pulling, everybody's pulling their own weight, so, and the public's been doing a great job of input in various places too, so very excited about the way this process is coming together. All right, so any other discussion on the postcard? All right, so Mike, so Andrew, you're gonna contact Fields and Company with the changes, or is Mike?
Here's what I'm gonna do, I'll talk to you and Victoria at the same time.
Yep.
And then we can set up a phone conversation. I'll be in on it in just in case you need me to do something or you have a question.
Okay.
Okay, and we can, I'll just text you tomorrow and figure out what your schedule's like.
Sure. And that would be just to make those little tweaks to the copy on the postcard, and then it will go to World Arts for print, final art proof, Scott will be our double check to make sure everything is kosher, and then it will be sent off to print. Great.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on if any subcommittee members, I think public comment would be a great time, or have a subcommittee report time on the agendas. So if any subcommittee members want to say, here's where we're at with the process, we need some guidance with this, and they can email any of us, but at the same time, it'd be better to present us as a board. Anybody have objections to that? I mean.
You're talking about adding that as a future recurring agenda?
Yeah,
item?
if they choose, I mean, because,
If they're not here, then we move on, but
Right.
Right.
if they are, since we're meeting on a more regular basis, it behooves the committee to have it available.
yep. No problems with that?
No problem with that.
All right, so, final thing on the agenda is public comment.
Do we need to actually vote on approving this postcard charge?
Darla said you really thought the consensus was fine on the postcard?
I think that's fine, thank you.
And then before public comment, I had a question. It was not on the agenda, but we have hard copy of the previous 2 meetings worth of minutes. And
Yes,
what is the
forgot the
approval
minutes.
process for those?
Somebody needs to make a motion to approve the minutes, and second, and whether we approve or deny them. So I will make a motion to approve the last 2 committees' minutes.
So those will be the meeting minutes for December 22nd and January 7th.
Yes,
And those are as drafted and sent out to you guys for review.
yep.
So moved, Dawn seconds. I vote yes. Scott?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
Dawn?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll make sure we put that there next time. All right.
I do want to comment, the YouTube channel was mentioned earlier, and I have discovered that, I don't know how we want to go forward with this. I actually have to have the file to upload to YouTube. I can't, if I want to put in links, they have to go in the comments. So I don't know how useful the YouTube channel is actually going to be.
Well, with cats, this is on their YouTube, so maybe we should just link to specific meetings for their YouTube.
Okay.
Should we do that? But I don't know about the ones that are recorded, well, the ones recorded on Zoom, we can upload, because you'll get a file. If Cats isn't, but I believe Cats is gonna be at all of them. Right, Noel, from what? And thank you, Noel, for putting up with me the last couple of weeks and all the questions, and Mike and Darla.
So, I'm not understanding the YouTube question. Help me understand how we're gonna utilize YouTube.
We were going to, that was going to be our one-stop shop for everybody from the public to be able to, just click on our YouTube channel. They won't have to sort through all the cats to look for reorganization meetings. It was just going to make it easier for the public.
We could talk, the cats actually showed up tonight, surprisingly, yay. But we can talk with them after the meeting to see, because typically anytime I have questions on any of that, they are very gracious to give me all the help that I need.
Okay, that'd be great.
And another possibility with the website, in talking to him, he had said that he can embed the links. So I believe, and we'll double check with Cats, every one of our meetings is eventually put on their YouTube. So he can embed those YouTube links on the website. So it'll still be one, not only would it have the links, it would have the minutes for those.
Okay.
So that may be a possibility too. And sorry to have you guys do
No, that's
extra
okay.
work, but
That's okay.
we don't know what we don't know.
That's right. We're all learning.
All right.
So for now, we're just going to wait and see on the YouTube channel you discussed and see about having those actually just either embedded or linked from the reorg website.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Is everybody good with that?
Yes.
All right. Any other pleasure of the board? All right, public comment on anything. Hey there.
It's a pretty tight timeline that you're expecting from the committees, and we've not seen the objectives, so how are the committees going to meet? How often are they going to meet? Where are they going to meet? How often do we need to report back to you?
Those are terrific questions. I think that, what we've discussed, however often it needs to meet to get the objectives done in time. Wouldn't you think that would be, Darla? Okay.
So the first thing thing that needs to happen is somebody needs to put together a comprehensive list of all of the subcommittee members with their contact information. So what we had talked about was having town supervisors and/or individuals from the township trustee also join the board so that they can be helpful in explaining what the government does. And I think we leave it to each, this isn't just my opinion, leave it to each individual subcommittee to decide how often you meet. And I think, I talked to Noel this afternoon about coming up with a list of meeting rooms. The committees can meet in the conference room here, at the utilities building, at the new Heritage building, at my office. Maybe the township office would have a conference room.
Maybe fire department.
Fire department training room, and so we'll send around a list of meeting rooms and contact information so that the committees can individually contact, make sure the fire department training room's available, make sure this room's available, and we're gonna I suggest leave it to the subcommittees to decide how often to meet.
Okay.
And I'm happy to help,
Well,
but.
the list sounds wonderful, and I think we're all going to understand it more when we get a copy of the objectives. And Mike, I would very much love a copy of the Sheridan plan. So if you've got them in your truck, I'd like it before I go home tonight.
Okay, I'm out front, so.
Yeah, Sandy, yours is one of the, because I found in my drafts, yours is one of that failed for the server limit, because I tried emailing you the attachment of it.
Okay. Let's see, there was one other thing I wanted to ask. How was your meeting at Sheridan? Did you learn a lot?
Oh, yeah, do you want to?
We did. I feel like I feel like it was very productive. There were some things that, a lot of good information, a little bit of surprise information on roads, I feel like.
First of all, they wish they'd have done it 3 years prior.
So they're happy with it?
They're very happy with it. The similarities were numerous between our situation and their situation. They got a lot of pushback from other government entities, and it sounded like, without knowing the end already, you would assume they're going to tell you that they failed, but they had what seemed like some insurmountable things to handle, and they prevailed. And I think they had like almost a 70% approval during the voting. After the fact, they're even happier than they were before. We had a township, was she the trustee, Dawn?
She was
Yeah,
trustee.
township trustee was there, and she now works with the new Sheridan government. And then we had the town board president, and we also had the person that kind of
Their
was their
consultant.
consultant. So anyway, yeah, I mean, I feel like we're on the right road. I left there feeling very good about our situation because it was so similar to their situation, and they were on a pretty tight schedule as well, so.
I was unfortunately not able to be there, but I think it was Don's notes that you sent around were very helpful.
Yes.
There were some distinctions based on the notes, so please correct me if I'm wrong, because I wasn't there. But I think it's important that the subcommittee members also look at the ways that they were different so that they don't immediately just think, well, what worked there will automatically work here. One of them was, correct me if I'm wrong, but Sheridan was bigger than the township in terms of population, according to the notes. I believe Sheridan.
That is true.
Yeah, where I think Sheridan had like 3,500 people, the township had maybe 2,500.
Something like that.
Right. Here, obviously, it's it's the reverse, and even maybe more so, right? And so I think it'll be important for the subcommittees to really be thinking about, if they look at that as the example plan, what are the things that the township residents might be concerned about that, would need more of a hearing in this case than they needed to up there. The other instance that was very interesting in the notes was that it seemed as though their county was actually the opposite of the county that we're in. In other words, they were trying to encourage development
Yes.
that would affect
They
Sheridan.
they were trying to, yes, and not give them an option, that they
Yeah.
were, yes.
And not the development that they wanted.
Right. Yeah, they want to, Sheridan and Adams Township people wanted a say in what happened in their area, and the county wasn't wanting to give that to them.
So
Yeah.
boiled down, it was land use policy that was a big bugaboo there. And they did theirs before SB 1 was enacted, so it was not a motive.
I think land use is going to be a big question here too, but I was in another meeting last night, unrelated, but there was a lot of concern about the information. You know, we talked about it at the meeting, and it was the first time a lot of people had heard about it. So the postcards are going to be helpful. The website is going to be helpful. Scott, I thank you for saying to be transparent. If you want functional committees, you've got to keep us as informed as you can be. So if you'd share your Sheridan notes with all of us, that would be fantastic. I would like you to do a group email of all of those committee members and send everything to us directly that you can, because the more we are informed, the better job we'll do for you. And thank you. Oh, I've got a side note. I saw John Seaver, who used to work for Baker Tilly, at Buffalo's last week, and I told him that Ellettsville was going to do this. We had a nice little chat, and he lives in Zionsville, and he said they had already done it successfully. So that's another little positive.
I'm surprised you haven't cornered me yet, so for information. We have maps and everything that you can have.
Okay, I'll corner you since you said I can call you. I will be.
Okay.
Thank you.
I agree that the meeting notes were very helpful. Some of the same things that stood out to Scott stood out to me as well, that the overall number of people in the considered area was dramatically smaller. The ratio of town to township was reversed. And particularly, one of the methods that the Reorganization Committee there used was essentially fireside chats. They offered to residents, if you want to host a get-together at a private home or anywhere, one of us or two of us will come and answer or take any questions we have. Because of the overall smaller size, I believe they did not use a range of subcommittees. Much more of it was handled by the committee of the whole at that main committee level.
They also felt that not having subcommittees was to expedite
Yes.
the situation. And that may very well be the case, but I think that having the subcommittees is our only way to involve more of the public, since we have so much more public.
And given the size of the people in the considered area,
Right,
I
that's-
definitely want subcommittees
Yeah.
with as much public participation as possible.
They were very adamant about the outreach was, they think, what made it succeed.
And I did have an idea that I spoke to Mike about on the way back from that. We were just trying to brainstorm ways to get this in front of people. And I had the idea of maybe yard signs. I'd forgotten the yard signs we talked about. Maybe having, that we could just put out.
I'll find out how much it costs to get those.
Well, I can tell you.
Pardon?
Depending on how many, you can get about 100 for, they break down to $6 to $7 each with the stakes. Depending if you want poly bags, that may be $4 to $5 each. But if you want the corrugated kind of foam, that'll be a little more expensive, but they weather better.
Well, personally, I'd rather use cardboard than foam, so, but that's up to, it's,
The you can get a kind of cardboard overlay with it. They don't hold up as well, though. But
where do you go to buy things like that? I've never had a yard sign.
I've got about a list of about 5 or 6 places I always get them to
Okay,
quote
well, I'll
against
talk
each
to
other.
you about it.
Here's an order fight over it.
Yeah, honestly, yes.
Any other public comment?
No other public comment? Seeing none, call this meeting adjourned.